In today's video we will focus on one of the main three views in Leon, the timeline. This view allows to visualize the flights in time a little bit better than the other two views. Okay, at first we need to mention that all of the three views share the main features with some adjustments in each. So on the left we have a filter which determines what we see in the main screen. In the tab schedule, which is pretty clear, we can have both confirmed and option flights. We can tick this box to see the cancelled flights as well, and we can select the preferred airport code. In the tab aircraft, we select the aircraft that we want displayed in the main screen, and in the tab show, which is a bit different than in the other two views, we have some additional features. We can have aircraft colors showing, which are the colors assigned to particular aircraft that are displayed next to the registration numbers. And we can dim the ferry flights if we want to. Please remember that for each action to take place, we need to click search at the bottom of the page. We can see that the ferry flights have been faded out. Active only is a very good option if you want to filter out all the aircraft that are not having any activities at the moment. So if we tick this and click search, we can see that the aircraft that don't have any flight in the selected range of time have disappeared from the list. In terms of rotation prognosis, we'll go back to it in a second. The filter is pretty straightforward. So another shared feature is the date, which is selected in the little calendar here, and the timeline also allows us to drag the view from side to side. If we want to go back to the current moment, we can click now. This option centers the view, and right in the middle here we have this green line, which is the current moment, and it is always displayed in UTC time. The other timing option is the time range, which we select in the drop down here. The higher the range, the more data will fit on the screen, and the lower the range, the view becomes clearer. As with the other views, right click on any flight will open a list of documents available for this flight. And we can also see here the status of the checklist, which is the dot in the corner of every flight. When you hover the mouse over the dot, you will see the tooltip with the checklist items, and if you double click on the dot, the checklist will open. The right panel is exactly the same as in the other two views, which allows you to edit all the flight details. Timeline, unlike the table view but similar to calendar view, also displays maintenances and reservations, as we can see here. Okay, now we can focus on the actual flights. Each stripe represents single aircraft, and each of them fits in two belts. The top one is the scheduled flight, which means it appears when we add a new flight from the bottom panel here, and the bottom one shows up when we add flight watch or journey log. So to put in simple words, the top one is the planned flight and the bottom one is the actual flight. You can see that the colors of the belts may vary. With the top ones, there are only two possibilities, either green or blue. So when we add a flight, it first becomes green automatically. Then if we go to edit the trip and untick the box commercial, it will become blue. Which means the green belts represent commercial flights and the blue ones are non-commercial. With the bottom belts, there is a few more variations. Let's maybe check on this one. If we go to the flight watch and we add the estimated time of departure, for example, click save. The initial belt is white. Now if we go to add on the takeoff time, the belt will turn blue. And the last possibility is when we add the landing time, the belt will turn this yellowish kind of orange color. These are the flight watch colors. Now if we go on to add the journey log, the belt will turn gray. Once you get the hang of it, the color representation becomes very clear. So let's go through it again. the top belt, green for commercial, blue for non-commercial. The bottom one, grey for filled in journey log, and the other options are white for initially filled in flight watch, blue for takeoff, and yellow for landing. The other thing you can expect to see on the bottom belt, maybe let's check on this flight, is when we add to the flight watch the calculated time of takeoff. See, now we've added the calculated time of takeoff, and we can see this S symbol right here, which stands for slot. And the other symbol you may find in timeline is airport discontinuity. For example, we can see this aircraft lands in Berlin and then flies from Berlin. However, if we change the flight of departure here, there will be an airport discontinuity. See, now here we can see this red zigzaggy line at the front of the flight, and it informs us there's an airport discontinuity. Now, the last feature, very important in timeline, is the rotation prognosis. It means it is possible for Leon to try to foresee the realization of the sectors taking place in the nearest future. The first step with rotation prognosis is to set it up in the operator settings. To do that, we go to settings and flight editing, and in here we have the setting default rotation time. It is set to 1 hour, which is fine with us. We can leave it that way. You can always change it by hand on each flight separately. And now we have to activate it in the tab Show. Now you can see on the future flights there is no flight watch obviously yet, so the white bells represent the rotation prognosis. This feature applies best to a series of flights, so we have a big trip here where we can see it is prognosed for the flights to take place at the scheduled times. However, let's go to the flight watch of, for example, this flight, and if we enter the estimated time of departure later than scheduled, for example, we can see that the prognosis on the second leg has been affected by the delay. This is because Leon leaves the 1 hour rotation time available between the scheduled flights. However, with the last leg, we can see it has not been affected by the first leg's delay. This is due to the fact there's still more than an hour available in between the last two legs. And that would be it for the timeline. I hope this tutorial was helpful to you. If you still have any questions, please contact our support team or have a look at our online manual.